The threat from North Korea has grown to a critical and imminent level, and the United States, Japan and South Korea need to take different responses to address it, Japanese Defense Minister Itsunori Onodera told his US and South Korean counterparts on Monday. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has promised strong countermeasures against North Korea, after winning a decisive victory in Sunday's election, BBC reported. The Prime Minister had earlier called for the existence of the country's armed forces to be formalized, a controversial move which he says is needed to strengthen Japan's defense but which critics say is a step towards remilitarization. Southeast Asian defense ministers on Monday expressed grave concern over North Korea's nuclear and missile programs and urged the reclusive country to meet its international obligations and resume communications, reports Reuters. North Korea is working to develop a nuclear-tipped missile capable of striking the U.S. mainland and has ignored all calls, even from its lone major ally, China, to rein in its weapons programs which it conducts in defiance of UN Security Council resolutions. Defense ministers from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations (ASEAN), in a joint statement, underscored the need to maintain peace and stability in the region and called for the exercise of self-restraint and the resumption of dialogue to de-escalate tensions in the Korean peninsula. President Donald Trump boasted that the U.S. is prepared for anything when it comes to the North Korea nuclear crisis and emphasized the importance of China's role during an interview with Fox Business Network's Maria Bartiromo broadcast on Sunday morning, reports CNN. Trump said he believes Chinese President Xi Jinping has the power to do something very significant with respect to North Korea. But no matter size actions, Trump said the United States is prepared for anything when it comes to North Korea. "We'll see what happens. We are so prepared, like you wouldn't believe," he said. Trump further praised China's actions on North Korea, adding that he and Xi have an exceptional relationship. UK Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson is to hail the importance of coordinated international diplomacy to counter the threat from nuclear weapons and North Korea in a speech to stake out a position at clear odds with the more bellicose rhetoric of Donald Trump, reports The Guardian. While Johnson will stress that the U.S. president has an absolute duty to prepare for a possible military option if North Korea is about to attack the United States, the foreign secretary will say diplomatic efforts must be paramount. In a speech to be made on Monday to the annual conference of the Chatham House think tank in London, Johnson will single out for praise Rex Tillerson, the U.S. Secretary of State, who has annoyed Trump by pushing for dialogue with Pyongyang. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and U.S. President Donald Trump agreed to work together to raise pressure on North Korea, Yasutoshi Nishimura, a deputy chief cabinet secretary, said on Monday. Abe and Trump spoke by telephone after the Japanese premier's ruling coalition scored a big win in an election on Sunday, reports Reuters. U.S. President Donald Trump is expected to pressure China's president when they meet next month in Beijing to do more to rein in North Korea out of a belief that Xi Jinping's consolidation of power should give him more authority to do so, reports Reuters. Trump leaves November 3 on a trip that will take him to Japan, South Korea, China, Vietnam and the Philippines. It will be his first tour of Asia since taking power in January and one with a major priority preventing the standoff with North Korea from spiraling out of control. Xi is immersed in a Communist Party Congress expected to culminate in him consolidating his control and potentially retaining power beyond 2022, when the next Congress takes place. Trump believes that Xi should have even more leverage to work on the North Korea problem. The president's view is you have even less of an excuse now, said one official. He's not going to step lightly. Pyongyang does not plan to hold any talks with Washington about its nuclear program, a senior North Korean diplomat said on Friday, declaring that possessing nuclear weapons was a matter of life and death for North Korea, the RIA news agency reported. Cho Son-wei, Director General of the North American Department of North Korea's Foreign Ministry, told a non-proliferation conference in Moscow Washington would have to put up with North Korea's nuclear status. This is a matter of life and death for us. The current situation deepens our understanding that we need nuclear weapons to repel a potential attack. We will respond to fire with fire. Vietnam has expelled the representative of North Korea's Wonyoung Shipping Corporation and denied visas to more than 20 North Korean IT workers. In a move that reflects Hanoi displeasure with Pyongyang, Vietnam continues to turn away North Koreans who could be earning foreign currency for the Kim Jong-un regime, Yonhap reported today. Russian forces in the Pacific today launched a joint drill with India off the coast of its border with North Korea, according to Russian state-run news agency TASS. The intra-2017 exercise, which will draft a total of 700 ground troops from both countries and 50 aircraft including warplanes and helicopters, kicked off with a ceremony in Russia's Vladivostok, the capital of its Primorye region. A North Korea diplomat has said the country's ballistic nuclear weapons program is non-negotiable. Cho Son-hui said the U.S. should be prepared to coexist with a nuclear North Korea. She said it was the only way to secure lasting peace on the Korean peninsula. North Korea is distributing live ammunition to soldiers and security personnel, the Asahi Shimbun reported yesterday. The report said the North is moving to a quasi war footing in response to joint South Korean naval drills that began on Monday. Live ammunition is being distributed to members of the military, to counter any threats that may arise from the exercises off the Korean peninsula, the newspaper said, citing a source. They have been effectively placed on a quasi-war footing. The majority of Americans believe diplomacy is the best way to ease tensions with North Korea, according to a new poll released Thursday. 64% of people disagree with President Trump's claim that Secretary of State Tillerson is wasting his time trying to negotiate with Little Rocket Man, Trump's nickname for North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, New York Daily News reported. In a Quinnipiac University poll conducted yesterday, it was found that as many as 46% of all Republicans are in favor of a preemptive strike against North Korea, despite the risk of a nuclear rebuttal. In contrast, 41% said they did not support a preemptive strike. North Korea's nuclear tests are not only raising fears around the world, they are causing the peak under which the bombs are being detonated to suffer tired mountain syndrome. Analysts are seeing signs that Mount Mantap, the 7,200-foot-high peak under which the tests are conducted, is suffering from the geologic malady, The Washington Post reported. U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson signaled growing U.S. impatience with China on issues from North Korea to trade while vowing to stay on the job as long as President Donald Trump will have him, Bloomberg reported. French President Emmanuel Macron has said the uncertainty about U.S. President Donald Trump's foreign policies has made European countries closer, adding that Trump's actions reinforce the need for unity and clarity from the EU. The French leader said that a united voice is important for international discussions about Iran and North Korea's nuclear activities, and about Europe's own defense programs. North Korea is building its biggest submarine to date that could be used to launch nuclear missiles further than ever before, the Daily Mirror reported, citing intelligence sources. The new submarine is thought to be being built at Sinpo South Shipyard, a site used to equip submarines with ballistic missiles, where satellite images exposed ongoing activity earlier this month. When fully operational, the Sunpok, which will weigh in excess of 2,000 tons, could be capable of carrying a new missile, the Pukguksong-3, which was accidentally revealed in pictures of Kim Jong-un on a factory inspection in August. The U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation (FBI) is looking into a Chinese business owner who was linked to a ship found smuggling North Korean rocket-propelled grenades last year, and who has ties to a North Korean trade and financing network, according to people familiar with the matter. The FBI probe of the man, named Sun Sidong, is a window into wide-ranging U.S. efforts to trace and cut off business networks that direct goods and currency toward the sanctioned regime of Kim Jong-un. Pakistan and North Korea have not been invited to the first two-day global conference on consumer protection to be inaugurated by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi next week, Indian Consumer Affairs Minister Ram Vilas Paswan said today. The South Korean army has said it is developing a missile powerful enough to destroy North Korea's underground military facilities and command center, and is confident it can obliterate the North's frontline artillery systems in the event of a war on the peninsula, Irish Times reported. The ferry service between Russia and North Korea has resumed after being suspended in August due to a financial dispute with Vladivostok port unrelated to the sanctions on Pyongyang, the operator said. However, unlike earlier, the vessel is transporting only cargo, no passengers. Kim Jong-un reportedly threw a tantrum when one of his officials, who happened to be a reader of the Norfolk Observer, told the leader about a comment made by a departing NNDC councillor recently. Doug Smith, a member of the conservative group at North Norfolk District Council who recently resigned, had said, "I wanted to join a group whose respect for people's opinions is not based on those of North Korea." 2 months after Texas Baptist men appealed to the U.S. Department of State to grant a Dallas Korean Baptist minister permission to enter North Korea with food for orphans and hospital patients, Yoon still has no answer. Yoon, director of the Korean American Sharing Movement of Dallas, has traveled to North Korea about 30 times since 1996 to supervise the delivery of food, medical supplies and other resources provided by TBM and other donors to schools for orphans and hospitals. Read the full story by Baptist Standard here. Asian Cup qualifiers between Malaysia and North Korea will take place at a neutral venue next month after a diplomatic row and nuclear tensions repeatedly delayed the first leg, football officials said today.